I know. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today.
Sorry, can you take this transcript off the screen?
Oh. Okay. Is that better? Okay. All right. We're on case 34, Book of Equanimity, case 34, Fuketsu's Speck of Dust. We're going to zip through this and get to our moving meeting. And this one is not as difficult as it sounds.
Right.
Yeah. Preface to the assembly. Open-handed and empty-fisted, he makes 1,000 changes and 10,000 transformations. Though he can make something from nothing, how can he escape fiddling with the relative to make a semblance of the real? Tell me, what is the basis of this? Main case. Attention. Fuketsu spoke, saying, when a speck of dust is raised, the nation prospers. When a speck of dust is not raised, the nation is destroyed. Regarding this, Secho held forth a staff, saying, is there any Zen student who has this same death and same life? Appreciatory verse. It is to be gray-haired standing up from fishing in Ishui River. Or is it to be the men who choose to starve on Shuyo Mountain? Within a speck of dust, diverse features are distinguished. Their fame and exploits are hard to forget. So from a Zen perspective, this koan it sounds like Fuketsu is being intentionally obtuse just to get you to think about this. So get rid of your ideas of that prosper is good and destroy is bad. So because it's not necessarily that way, and the same death and same life. So from a Zen perspective, of course, we are all not separate from everything else in the universe, in this room, and from anything, and we are a manifestation of oneness. But oneness shows up in a myriad different ways, but it's all one, still all connected, still not separate from everything else. So yes, in true Zen form, to answer that last question, is there any Zen student who has the same death and same life? Yes and no. Because, we're all born the same way, and we all die, so that's same. But what happens in between shows up in a variety of different ways, and we all contribute to the world, the universe, from our own unique perspectives. So, we're all together in this, and same beginning, same end, but what we do in between has an impact on everything and everyone. So choose carefully, because karma is always attached. Whatever you do will have an impact on everything around you, and perhaps even more than you know, because you don't know what the butterfly effect, as they call it. You don't know what effect that has, to everything else. And let's talk about this speck of dust. When the speck of dust is raised, the nation prospers. So a nation prospering is a form of separation in a way, because we raise up a lot of jingoistic ideas, that we are better than, we are the greatest that, make America great again, all those axioms, and it's a way of getting people together, and the rally call for let's work together to make this better than something else. So there's that very odious comparisons that we do. So that works to a certain extent, but where it causes harm is when othering has this unfortunate effect of, because we decide that something is less than, that it's okay to treat what we consider less than differently, harshly, even to the point of killing. So this raising the speck of dust can be dangerous to a certain extent, and to look out for that. And when a speck of dust is not raised, the nation is destroyed, meaning that separation is destroyed. When we're in the, it's this, you know this in your individual lives. When you're in your flow, you are not conscious of anything else. You are just totally focused, totally getting done what you need to get done. You're not even aware of how much time has passed. So there's no separation between you and what you're doing. The same thing is what this is referring to when the speck of dust is not raised, when we're not trying to make ourselves different and separate and better, than everybody else. That separation is destroyed, and we're together and in that flow together. So certainly, in the relative sense, there is this appearance that things are separate. And certainly when you're dealing with people who believe that separation is real, you have to play in that delusion. And you can play comfortably in that delusion, because that delusion is no better than any other delusion. It's just how people relate. So you make yourself, you put yourself in their shoes. You meet people where they are. You identify as that person, which is what the Bodhisattva vow is about. In order to save all sentient beings, you've got to be all sentient beings. You've got to meet people where they are, where they're having their difficulties, and help them with that, and not try to make them into something that you think they should be. We hear this all the time. If you believe if you did it my way, it would be so much better. But that often does not work. But if we could all just get together and be open and listen, especially when people are, I've had this experience many, many times in my previous life. People would come in, because for those some of you are new, I was an HR professional for Kaiser Permanente, so huge medical organization, and a lot of people working under a lot of stress. So people would often come into my office and saying, I've got this problem and I need your help, and what's the HR perspective? And all I would do is listen to them, and usually within half hour, 45 minutes, they have talked themselves into their own solution. And I have said nothing. All I've done is sit there and listen. I would take notes, just in case they were telling me something illegal and I needed to do something about it. Most of the time they weren't. They were just kind of dealing with everyday things, and they would basically just needing someone to listen, and and I guess what was the corporate jargon at the time? A thought partner. So could you be a thought partner with me? I thought, okay, that'll work. But it was kind of nice, and then invariably they would say, "Oh, thank you so much, you helped." I'm going, I said nothing. I did nothing. You solved your own problem. I'm glad I was here to help you. And most of the time, people will do that for themselves. They just need a space, and time to kind of talk it out, put it out there in the air and hear it for themselves. And once they hear it, they're like, oh, that's the solution. It comes back. So our job is, the vow we take as a bodhisattva, is to be present with people as they are. And to save them as they are, because we're not trying to make them into something else. Because invariably, life, and this is such a cliche, and I find it irritating sometimes. When Zen teachers say it all the time, that life is perfect just as it is. Even though I believe that, I hate saying it because it sounds, kind of dismissive. Because there are people who are going through very difficult things in their life. And the last thing they're going to want to hear is your life is perfect just as it is, because for them it's not perfect. They want it to be some way else. But usually, the difficulties are the only place we learn. And I, I remember when I uh, was at the first meeting with the administrative team at my last job. They asked me why I worked in HR, and the reason I gave was because I have a deep appreciation for conflict. Because that's really the only place that human beings learn, is when we're in trouble. Because then we get focused. Pain focuses you, very clearly. You hit your thumb with that hammer, there is nothing else you're thinking about. It just clears out all the cobwebs immediately. Nothing focuses you more than pain. And I think that's where we learn. And you're probably hitting your thumb once with a hammer was enough for you to never do that again. So the focus happens in conflict, when we're in trouble, when things are not going well, and then we learn, and then things get better. And so that's what's perfect about it. It's not that it's rosy and spring all the time. It's that it was an opportunity. We were alive to deal with that, and we had the wherewithal to learn as we've gone along. So when we say another Zen saying, every day is a good day. So every day that I can get up and deal with life as it is a good day. If I'm on this side of the ground, that's the best place for me to learn something. Haven't been on the other side of the ground, so I don't know what that's like. You figured it out. So these and where we often get into trouble and where people block themselves off from learning is how they identify, because we identify a particular way. Invariably, it's I don't know if it's an American thing, but we identify as our jobs. Some people ask us what we do, and we say I am. So we are. That's our identity for however long. So whatever we're doing is what we are. But letting go of those identities is often difficult, because those identities come with a list of other identifiers and qualifications and restrictions and boundaries and all of those things that keep our identity safe. And so we are often defending our identity once we have established that identity. And letting that go is a kind of openness that certainly when you're sitting on the cushion and you have that experience, that opening experience that all of us have when we're sitting, that when that identity drops in a safe place, like when no one else is challenging you or talking to you, like when we're doing meditation, that I feel good. But maintaining that openness when we're out in the world every day is difficult and can be disconcerting and uncomfortable. But it is what the practice teaches us, that these identities are not, first of all, they're not real. I didn't do the same job for the 45 years that I worked in healthcare. So every few years, every time I changed jobs, my identity changed, because I was, something else. And when I'm not working, I am a musician, I am a poet, I am all those other things that I claim that I do. But we are each other, and we are no one. We are everything, and we are nothing. All of those things are open to us, and dropping those things that we have to defend allows us to be with people as they are. And that's the destroying the nation, destroying those things that separate us. And that's it sounds like it's a bad thing when a speck of dust is not raised, the nation is destroyed. We're like, oh no, we don't want the nation destroyed. But in a way we do, because I think we've had more examples of it in recent years, of people who have this idea of what the United States should be like, look like, act like, And if you're not that, then you're not American enough. That's the separation that does cause harm. It does cause suffering. So that kind of identity, that kind of separation is what this practice allows us to destroy within ourselves, first of all, because that's where it has to start, is not hanging on to these identities that we have to defend. Stepping into that openness. Certainly, it sounds like a lofty goal, but it's not easy. This practice is not easy. And those of us who've sat long enough know that everything comes up in this practice, good, bad, beautiful, and ugly. And we have the opportunity to look at it as it comes up within ourselves, first of all, and understand that if it's happening within each of us, it's happening with everyone. And everyone has their own version of it. But we are living, we were born the same way, and we will die the same way. And in between, we have the opportunity to truly drop these identities and drop the separations and really intimately experience each other. That's what that's why they call this practice a practice of intimacy. Because it starts with yourself. It starts with really getting to know who you are. To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by 10,000 dharmas, as Dogen very succinctly put it. But you really do have to do it step by step. A lot of people just want to get to the enlightenment part without the study part. But since you carry yourself into your enlightenment, you've got to figure out who and what that is. And since your enlightened state is your natural state, you already have it. It's already there. There's nothing you need to do to get to it. You just have to get out of your own way. Because it's only these identities, these areas of defense, that stop us from having that direct experience. So the two people that are mentioned, just to give you a little historical background, the two people that are mentioned in this koan did not know each other. Fuketsu was born about 100 years before Secho, and this is a talk that was given by Secho. Secho is the person who compiled the Blue Cliff Record. So he was giving this talk about 100 years after Fuketsu had died. So they were not, obviously there was influence from Fuketsu, because Fuketsu was a successor of Renzai. So certainly carried on Renzai's lineage, which is, if it wasn't for the Renzai lineage, the Soto school would not exist, because there was a time when there were no Soto successors, and the Soto lineage was carried by a teacher that had both successions from both Renzai and Soto, and then when the Soto teacher showed up, that teacher then continued with the Soto line. So the schools have never been that separate. We talk about them as if they're somebody else, but they're not. And the founder of our school had transmission from both Renzai and Soto, so we're kind of this hybrid of both schools. So, and some of the things we do are very Renzai. So we do both slow and fast kinhin. So we start out with the very slow kinhin on our breath, and then after a few minutes we do the fast kinhin. In the strict Soto school, they only do slow kinhin. In the strict Renzai school, they only do fast kinhin. So we have, I think, skillfully combined the two. And I won't bore you with all the other combinations, because there are many of them. But I just understand that we're not separate from the Renzai, and not separate from Vipassana, not separate from Theravada. All of the Buddhist schools are represented in every single lineage. So we're in this together. We are truly one and truly connected, and truly interconnected, because we share much of the history. And certainly the Bodhisattva vow hasn't changed for a few thousand years, so the goal is the same. That's our job. And that's why you do the work for that is Zazen. So thank you for doing that work, because it is work to actually do this on a consistent basis, but appreciate it. Because you come here and you create the space and the container for that work to happen, a safe space for that to happen. So much appreciation for doing that. All right, questions, comments, disagreements, dissensions?
Just wanted to say that was a beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, this was when I remember studying this koan, and and Tension was ruthless. He would not give me any hints. That's true, because I read this and I went, oh, seriously. So this took some work. That's why I love the koan, because it doesn't make any sense.
What about what are those references to the man who chose to starve on Shuya Mountain and the gray hair standing up and fishing in the Ishwi River?
I should have looked that up again. I don't remember, to be honest with you. When I was studying it, I was diligent about looking at every reference and every teacher, and I have to find my notes. I'll let you know, because I honestly don't remember, because this was 25 years ago when I was studying these koans. So, and I didn't look it up this time. Yes, Mike.
You had a conflict yesterday that meditation helped me deal with.
Oh.
I had a senior moment. I misplaced my wallet. And so I was all panicking. Where the hell is it? I looked for an hour, then I focused on my breath. Okay, what's next? So check the bank accounts.
Oh.
So if you dropped it or whatever, somebody most likely charged someone a credit card. So check the bank accounts. No changes. So, okay, you most likely misplaced it. So then, okay, where were you? I was only at 2 places. So I went over there, asked anything there. There's no, we didn't see. So I come back, and then I had to slowly, what did I do exactly when I came home?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was, when I came home from the gym, I, put my soaked clothes on a hanger and put my wallet aside, and I was just like, where could I have put it? And then I just found it. It was on top of a whole bunch of old pictures next to where the laundry was. I usually don't put anything there. So I found it. So, but that took what, 2 or 3 hours?
Yeah. But
frustration.
Yeah, it's frustrating. The four noble truths that we, life is suffering. There's a cause to suffering. There's an end to suffering, and the end of suffering is all these steps. Those are the steps of problem solving. There is a problem.
Yeah.
There's a way to end this problem.
Yeah.
Or there's a cause of the problem. Then there's a way to end the problem, and to end this problem, I have to follow these steps.
Yeah.
And so you retrace your steps, or you have the eightfold path to tell you what to do. It's basic stuff. It's it's what we do in life. It's what this is all about. But yeah, glad you found your wallet.
Yeah, me too. I was pretty worried for a little while.
Yeah, it's worrying, especially these days. People just don't care. Rare are the ones who actually don't take anything out of the wallet, but look to see where it belongs and get it back to the person that has lost it and is probably in just tremendous distress because they can't find their wallet. But
I think that the part I like of that story is the first part. It's like catching yourself from spinning.
yeah,
It's not, or freaking out, or however you want to describe it, and just saying, wait a minute, let me sit with this. But I've done that same thing too. With things that I misplaced or just problems that arise, and first I have to stop myself from whatever I'm doing that's not productive, and just really go into that realm of just being still for a minute.
yeah,
Seeing what happens.
yeah. Well, there's a story in, what book is it in? The woman who was running around looking for her head. It's a classic Buddhist story. She looked in the mirror and didn't see her head, and she's literally panicked. Where's my head? Where's my head? I can't find my head. Help me find my head. Blah, blah, blah. So she's literally just like whirling dervish, panicked because her head is missing. And finally, someone had to stop her and say, "Sit down." And after she caught her breath, it's like, oh.
What was wrong with the mirror?
I don't know. Probably the way she looked at it, you know.
Well, I love that that story. They use a mirror. I think that's not an accident, and it kind of connects to this case. And then this when you forget something and you're spinning out, is that you're identifying with your problem.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I haven't seen the moment. I'm so stupid. I forgot. What all is going to happen? And then I'll be someone who lost their wallet.
Yeah.
Or, the mirror, literally, it doesn't make sense. So you'd look to the mirror with your head.
Yeah.
So it's like, but what she's seeing, she's thinking that's reality. She's forgetting, well, I have to be observing this. If I have my head, I have to be observing this.
Yeah.
So she's identifying with what she thinks she sees instead of the seeing.
Yeah.
So
So-
I had a friend. We were drinking. It was a night out, and she thought she lost her phone. So she called me from her phone to tell me that she thinks she left it in the Uber. I was still on the Uber, and it took me like 10 minutes to get her to realize that she was calling me from her phone.
Yeah.
Good, you're pretty drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that?
How many Long Island iced teas?
I know.
Yeah. Well, and
There's no such thing as a junior moment.
yes.
There's a moment for everyone.
Well, I mean, my moment was I was a kid, and back in the day, I had a huge afro. When I had hair, and one morning I was running around looking for my comb, and I'm yelling at my sister, going, "What did you?" I'm accusing her, of course, because it's got to be somebody else's fault that I can't find my comb, because I cannot go out of the house without having my hair combed. So I am literally running around and just angry and pissed off. My sister is laughing so hard that she can't breathe, and she can't tell me that the comb is in my hair. And I'm like, "Stop laughing at me! What did you do?" So yes, we all have these moments.
The worst is when I put something in a safe place.
Yeah. Oh.
Keep it safe.
Yeah,
I can't
you have
remember
no
the
idea
safe
where that
place,
is.
but
Yeah.
Every time.
But it's
I know I
also
put it somewhere, it's a safe place, but then I can't remember.
Safe from you.
yeah. But this and now we're seeing a lot of this lack of critical thinking that is going on because we're allowing machines to do our thinking for us. Like I said, there's this ad that I find extremely irritating. A car is not a sweater. Has anyone seen that ad? I'm like, what study did they conduct that determined that there were people who thought a car was the same as a sweater? So why is that ad there?
It's a good call.
It is. Yeah, and I think from looking, because there was a television ad that used from whoever put up that ad, and it was really about, being careful about buying a car, and you can't just return it like you would a sweater. That's what they're. So, yeah, I had to watch the commercial to understand the ad and understand what they were thinking. But, really questioning what it is we believe about the moment or what's coming up or, what we think we forgot, and just taking a moment, taking that backward step, sitting down, taking a breath, and just really recognizing what's real. It's like, okay, while it's gone, what's the next steps? What do I need to be careful of? What do I need to be aware of? And taking care of the situation. If indeed there was a problem with your bank account, you would know it was stolen, and I need to shut that down. Take care of it. So that's what that's the gift of this practice, and a lot of people don't have that. It's reaction, 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 and that is what hooks us. That addiction to this reaction is what hooks us into a lot of the social media that we have now, because it's not built for constructive, thinking. It just wants to catch you and get you, right where you are. That's why I had to uninstall TikTok, as it was just too immediately addictive. I recognized it. And it was like, oh no. Scroll. Anyway, all right. Anything else before we close? All right, we have an important discussion to have, so please hang out if you can. We're about to embark on a move not too far from here, hopefully, but we want to consider those options and take a vote. And thank you, Mark, and all the others who who did the research and have brought us those options. So we'll close this, and then we'll.